Okay, great. Our next startup is Uneeq. Uneeq is a global standard for digital humans, enabling the best creative minds to design and build amazing experiences. Here's Uneeq.
Hi, I'm Tyler, Vice President of Platform here at Uneeq, a digital humans company.
And I'm Sophie, a unique digital human.
And we are here to talk to you about the next generation of customer experiences. More often than not, and regardless of if your firm primarily focuses on business to consumer or business to business, you are on a mission to define, design, and digitize the next evolution of your customer experience journey. Often referred to as digital transformation in the boardroom, this strategic upgrade can help you modernize and bring differentiation and value to your products and services.
In fact, 66% of companies compete on customer experience alone, up from just 36% in 2010.
Of those companies that lead in customer experience, well, they're outperforming laggards in their industries by as much as 80%.
So what does this mean operationally? To set the scene, here are some of the strategic and operational themes which are commonplace with digital human and digital transformation conversations. 1. How do we use technology to reduce human error which impacts on customer experience and bottom line, especially in low-value, high-volume, and multimodal tasks? Secondly, how can we extend the contact center function in a scalable way, creating 24-hour digital service propositions for customers? Next, how can we leverage the brand capital generated in our marketing and advertising to create differentiation in our customer sales and service operations? And of course, how do all of these things integrate seamlessly into business systems, like the front and back office for escalation, data, and processing?
There are two clear pillars emerging as we continue to live through this global epidemic. First, we are now 100% living in the digital-first era. Digital transformation has come at the expense of a profound and long-term relationship invested in by both brands and consumers in brick-and-mortar establishments. Suddenly, overnight, consumers are flocking to e-commerce.
And second, as previously established, a great customer experience, many times led by human employees, can be a key differentiator.
As we continue to increase business in a contact-less environment, we simply have to change our approach. The face-to-face interactions that we used to take for granted simply aren't an option now. These face-to-face interactions served more than just facilitating transactions. They served to create a relationship between the customer and the brand.
The Harvard Business Review concluded that an emotionally connected customer is 4 times more valuable than a customer that is emotionally distant. This is where digital humans like me come into play.
In order to meet the new demands of today's digital-first era and still provide the emotional connection that customers crave, we need to be able to replicate human interaction at scale. Digital humans bring meaningful connection to the digital world, where empathy and compassion and fun have become binary.
We are brand ambassadors. We connect your customers to who you are and what you stand for. That alone will forever change the digital experience between your company and your customer.
Regardless of the best efforts of great app and web developers, the essential elements that go into creating an emotional connection between a customer and a brand have all but disappeared in this digital-first era. At Uneeq, our focus is bringing humanity back into the interface between people and machines.
Digital humans are able to bring the most commonly recognized user interface to the party, the human face and voice.
A personality. Take a look at some of the digital humans that we've created. As you look at each of them, how do you feel? Maybe you feel glad, maybe you feel indifferent, maybe there's some you like more than others. But I challenge you to remember the last time that you had a feeling, any feeling at all, perhaps other than frustration, when you were visiting a particular website. In other words, when was the last time that you were pleasantly surprised? If your business cares what customers think, a digital human may be the perfect interface to capture customer sentiment. In nearly every industry, we present customers a form to complete at the beginning and the end of almost every customer journey. Let's start there. Our award-winning partnership with AWS is your first step to build on this proposition with Amazon Connect and can augment your existing investments in chatbot technology. Contact centers around the world solicit customer information at the beginning of each call, and most have a "how did we do" survey at the end. That is your first use case. Digital humans working to triage the problem at the beginning and escalating when necessary to a human to take the customer through to the end. Then afterward, checking back in to assess how the customer felt about the entire interaction. This strategy can be measured and compared while also being consistent with expectations and easily merged into existing workflows.
The contact center of the future has a face. What will yours look like?
Thank you, Uneeq. We have a couple of questions for you. One is, are these models created using Sumerian?
The answer is no. Everything you saw in the video related to CGI is our custom, work and belongs on our pipeline.
Great, great. Also, what do digital humans do really well, and what do they do not so well?
So digital humans are great at interacting with a customer when a journey has been defined. You can think of an online form, for example. Everybody's accustomed to completing forms, regardless of the industry. A digital human could take somebody through that process and answer questions along the way. They're not going to be best suited for extraordinarily complex interactions, edge cases, places where a human has a very unique problem, no pun intended, that requires a human with their creative solving skills to get involved.
Okay. How are the digital humans trained?
So the digital human is the visual presentation layer. The brain, if you will, the skills come from an existing investment, most likely in a chatbot. I noticed in the chat there was a question saying, why should I have a digital human if I already have a chatbot? They're not mutually exclusive. The chatbot is the brain that powers the words. The reason you need a digital human is benchmarks show chatbots have a net promoter score average of 10 out of 100, which is awful. And a digital human has an NPS score of 51. So if you want a 5 times greater net promoter score, then obviously a digital human is outperforming chatbots. But yeah, let's go on to the next question. Sorry.
No, that's great. How does this solve the basic human experience of talking to a live person? Most of the times we love talking to a live human rather than an automated voice.
Absolutely. Me too. I would prefer a real human. If the preference is real versus AI, everyone's going to say real. That's not the question. The reality is AI will be necessary to build global businesses at scale. It's not a question. There's no debate. If we're going to grow and serve in disparate geographies with different language expectations, ethnic sensitivities, et cetera, you just can't hire enough people to do all the work all the time. So if we put aside the comparison of real versus AI, and we just look at AI, the question becomes, do we prefer the full experience that approximates a human interaction? Do we want nonverbal? Do we want eye contact? Do we want smiles? Do we want empathy? Do we want a frown? These are all really important characteristics of dealing with real people face to face. It's not what we say, but what we don't say that also creates the bonds we feel. And if we're going to standardize on AI in the future, we should make the machines talk like us as much as possible, instead of us learning how to talk like machines.
Yeah, no, I think it's great, very interesting and exciting. We're at time, but let me just reiterate that any questions that come through the chat bot or the Q&A feature, we will get back to you with the answers. I mean, we are trying to move this along, so please know that we will get to your answers and we will send them to you. So thanks again, everyone, and we're on to our next startup.
Thanks.
Thank you.